Thank you very much, sir, for your time on ENCA. I see that your explanation, especially to, for instance, SCOPA, has been that it's not necessarily NSFAS that paid the money into Mani's account.
Have you read our statement?
I need you to tell the viewers, it's not about me reading the statement, sir. It's about you explaining to our viewers. So answer the question, please. I believe that in your statement, as well as in front of SCOPA, you said it's not necessarily NSFAS that paid the money. It was a service provider of the Walter Sisulu University.
I'm glad you have read the statement. It's important because it puts our conversation into context. In the statement, you do mention that we did not deposit money into the account of Sibongile Mani, which is a mistake you have made in your intro. You have repeated the very same mistake which many journalists have been doing.
I think
and we want to
interview,
correct you.
You need to move from that. Again, I'm giving you the chance to correct us. You need to move from trying to bring in the media. At the end of the day, it's 14 million rand that actually belonged to the state. And I need you to explain to the viewer. It's not about the journalists and our coverage anymore. I'm giving you the platform to explain to the viewer who is watching you right now what happened. Can you move from the journalist's part and move to that, please?
No, I can't move from the journalist part because journalism has a very important role to play in this country. And where they've erred, we've got to point it out. As painful as it might be for you, I'm going to point it again.
Playing that role.
The 14 million is not the state money. You've just made another mistake.
We're moving from that.
So you need to get your facts correct. No, we're not moving from it.
First of all,
because that's the part of the problem.
SCOPA as well as us are still very concerned. They still believe as the main stakeholder, NSFAS should take some responsibility and make sure that whoever was in charge of paying it into the account of Sibongile Mani is taken to book, not just Sibongile Mani as the spender.
Yeah, of course, we need to separate issues. Firstly, we appreciate SCOPA and SCOPA's role. We will always appear before SCOPA to clarify where there might be a misunderstanding. And the views of SCOPA are the views of SCOPA. And of course, they are the right channels for us to account to it, as it is a parliament committee. On the 14 million issue, which brought us here, we are saying to the South Africans that we paid 1,400 for Sibongile Mani. How the 14 million got into her account, it has nothing to do with NSFAS. It was not NSFAS money. It was not public funds, as it was reported by media. It was not money that was wasted from government and from NSFAS. So that's what we want to clarify. And I think if the media wants to push the narrative that the 14 million was government funds, that's why we came out here, to clarify that, and you have to accept that.
And after so long, sir, why are you clarifying that now? It's been quite a while that this case has been in the public.
Of course, we had to wait. The issue was still a sub judice.
But you see, that's the other problem, Dr. Mamabolo, because when the media did try to get comment from NSFAS throughout those years to try and understand what happened, we were not getting the answers. Now today, you want to, move from what the problem really is to the reporting of the media. And I understand your concern, but we're giving you this platform so that you can explain to the public what happened, which I think they deserve.
I need specificity in your allegations, because I can prove to you that there's no single media question that came to NSFAS around 14 million that we did not answer. And when I came to this interview, I told your producer that you better be sure about how you covered SENCA, the 14 million issue. Because what you are alleging now is total lie. We've never refused from coming to clarify this issue. Unless you can prove it to me.
But you just said to me right now that you had to wait. You just confirmed that you had to wait because it was sub judice.
You are asking me why did we wait before we issued a statement to clarify. I said to you.
It's still the same point.
We have issued. No, if you look at our statements, we have issued about 5 statements between ourselves, Intelli Mali, and Walter Sisulu University. explaining that the 14 million error happened from the end side of the service provider. We did interviews in as far as we can to explain how that error happened. However, we could not go deep in details in terms of who made the payment and the issues that were being discussed before court. We couldn't explain that. But when the story broke, I was the person in 2017 and 18 that did all the interviews.
All right. So now, is there no concern at all from NSFAS with regards to the service providers? Because clearly you take the flak.
No, clearly the media made us to take the flak. Clearly the media made us to take the flak because they failed to do their investigative journalism. And we are very, very concerned about that. In fact, Mani has nothing to do with us. We've never signed a contract with them. We have no relationship with them. They don't distribute any of our money. What we have done with Walter Sisulu, we have asked them to reassure that the 14 million that he was irrationally paid, it was not necessarily our money, and they've confirmed that. And therefore, we have introduced a memorandum of understanding with all universities on how they should handle our money. We have even gone a step further. Our bodies now and the management are now going to be implementing a direct payment disbursement module to the student's bank account. For us, it's a lesson we have learned from the 14 million, that as much as institutions have their own distribution processes in place of distributing our money, we must take much more deeper interest in actually ensuring that how they distribute money, who they enter into contract with to distribute the money, we are also part of that value chain. And we decided that actually taking the whole process into our hands and distributing money into the student accounts will avoid such erroneous payment. And of course, bringing our name into disrepute.
And now the Special Investigating Unit also has a report that investigated allocation of money at the Central Johannesburg College. Students apparently being paid NSFAS money that are actually not even at that institution. What's NSFAS?
Well, the SIU report that I'm aware of is the one where they have been investigating the case at Central Johannesburg College, where it involves some of the officials and some of the students that are colluding to defraud the scheme. And also, the report that I know is also of Walter Sisulu University, where there are students that were colluding with the financial aid officers to defraud the students' money. And then such fraudsters, especially at Walter Sisulu University, have been arrested. There are several investigations that are happening that NSFAS is part of that involves officials across all the sector. These are the officials in higher education, also the students themselves. And we see this as a serious problem. And it requires us as a sector to work together and fight corruption.
So it goes back to the concern then about the payment systems that involve NSFAS.
Payment systems are always a problem across the country. NSFAS is not an exception. Banks, on now and then, they always teach their customers how to protect their personal information so that they should not be defrauded. And it's part of our ongoing strategy to ensure that we protect our customers, which by mainly our students. So there's no uniqueness in the whole issue that you are raising. But we are concerned because we don't want our students to go hungry, to be disadvantaged. We're even taking a step further, looking at what value-add programs can we add for our students, such as financial literacy, and how do we deal with their personal information as well.
All right, so I was going to check with you, Ndata Mamabolo, because I felt that you were probably downplaying it by saying that it's nothing new. But I'm glad that you mentioned that there are things that you are doing to make sure that you eradicate it. That is NSFAS spokesperson Kagisho Mamabolo. Thank you for your time here on ENCA.